about any of you out there, but ChatGPT seems to be acting up, at least for me to some degree. But anyways, I got a post to talk about with you. Okay, cool. You like the Zoom meeting idea? It's like, we can always do Zoom, dude. So hang on, let me open it up. So what happened, it came on the Turo on the car, and obviously I've been doing market research on autonomous vehicles, and then obviously renting them out because I'm highly interested in all that, and so should you be. So I gotta get some exercise in, but I've been letting my leg kind of relax, which has been nice because it's starting to work. Again, I'm feeling a little bit less pain, so I think I've just been a little bit too hard. But anyways. So this blog post will be available on the website. Go ahead, use the links down in the description below. Check out our insights, and we can kind of go from there. Patrick, no, come on. But yeah. So the hidden costs of car sharing, lessons from Turo, and implications for a RoboTaxi future. As Tesla edges closer to its RoboTaxi rollout and full self-driving FSD capability continues to evolve, the conversation around autonomous vehicle ownership is no longer just theoretical. For those of us who are early adopters, testers, or entrepreneurs leveraging car-sharing platforms like Turo, the current landscape offers invaluable insights into what the future might look like, but it also reveals serious flaws that, if left unchecked, will become amplified in the autonomous era. This is not just a story about one host on Turo. It's a deeper look into how current car sharing models fail the very people who make them possible. Come on. Come on. I don't know what you're sniffing. Let's get walking. Morning. Fail the very people who make them possible. And it's a warning to those who think RoboTaxi Jeez Louise. And it's a warning to those who think RoboTaxi ownership will be set it and forget it income stream, because it's definitely not. I've already kind of talked about some of the concerns that I have, the cleanliness of the vehicles. How are you gonna handle the insurance on the vehicles and making claims for damages? But that's not what we're talking about right now. So this real world experiment, I've had my Audi SQ5 listed on Turo, expecting modest side income and reasonable guest usage, which it's been pretty good. With a vehicle in pristine condition, regular maintenance, and a clean digital presentation, which you can go use the link down below and rent the car. I've updated this since this, so it shouldn't happen again. But I believed I had set myself up for a success. I followed Turo's guidance and leaned on their suggested discount structure. This is where the issue lies. This is the discount structure. Assuming the platform's algorithms were designed with fair economics in mind. Then came the booking that changed everything. This literally was last night. I got this booking, and I started working on a resolution with Turo at 6:30 in the morning. Hey, I'm gonna clean the lens real quick. Maybe a little bit of a wipe down. Okay, there you go. And you can see Patrick. He's enjoying his little walk. So it was a 67-day rental, auto-approved via Turo's instant book feature, seemingly a win, until I realized guests had received a 45% discount due to a non-refundable booking setting layered on top of a 10% host side. No, it's still backwards on there. So it was a 10%. So it was a 10% discount for the non-refundable booking setting, and then Turo had made the recommendation of a 45% discount for trips basically over 1 month. So if 1, 2, or 3 months, you got a 45% discount. So combined, it was a total of 55% discounts was applied to the trip. So what was the trip cost? Well, it technically broke down to be $4,400. But after Turo's fee and the compounded discounts, I stood to make only $1,498.17. I didn't even make $1,500. Worse, because I had to override Turo's, I hadn't overridden Turo's original 45% long-term discount recommendation. And if I had, I would, which it is now disabled, and it being enabled, I basically had a mileage limit. So the guest was only allowed to drive a maximum of 4,000 miles. But if I disable that and I override their recommended discount, then my mileage limit has to be removed, and now I have to let my vehicle sit there with unlimited miles. It's like, what? So here's where Turo fails the host. Turo's model is optimized for guest satisfaction and platform volume, not host profitability. Hosts are presented with recommended discount rates that, if overridden, can result in the loss of key protective features, like mileage caps. The more you comply with the system's aggressive discount model, the more protection you retain. Yeah, that's true. The moment you assert financial boundaries, protections begin to disappear. This dynamic becomes especially concerning with long-term bookings. That instant booking bypasses host review, so it wasn't like I got to review it. And then it wasn't the non-refundable discount of 10% can be selected by a guest and applied without the host's approval. I feel, especially in a long term, you definitely shouldn't have the ability for that. Hosts cannot disable guest side discounts just automatically, right? And when you're setting up the car, it's making all these recommendations. You don't know what the car is going to rent for. So you're relying on a platform that has data and making recommendations to you like, oh yeah, this is a good discount. People do it all the time. So I'm trusting the app. But the app is bullshit, because once you start doing the numbers, then it's like, wait a minute. That doesn't make any sense. Why would I want to give, who's giving that big of a discount? Surely not someone with an Audi SQ5. Are we comparing apples to apples? Or am I comparing apples to oranges? The mileage limitations are disabled if host side discount settings don't match platform recommendations. Yeah, so I went with them in the beginning, right? I set it up, and this was my first long-term booking. I set them up in good faith on the recommendations that it was going to be fine, right? And the app's been pretty good for the weekend trips. I mean, I make pretty consistent money on the weekends and during the weeks. I'm not too worried about those lower discounts. What this is all about is these longer term trips and their costs. And then on top of that, there's cancellation penalties that are enforced even when a booking results in net financial loss to the host. So I reached out to Turo first before reaching out to the guest to come up with some type of solution, because I didn't want to cancel it, because if I cancel it, I'm going to get penalized. Turo's really strict about canceling trips. I already canceled one in the beginning that was just ridiculous, because I was like, oh yeah, I can deliver my car. Turo only lets you set the delivery fee at a maximum of $120, but they'll let you, the mileage limit, I'm like, oh yeah, I can deliver almost wherever. Well, the one that I was delivering to was like at Palm Springs International. And I'm like, yeah, no, that ain't happening. That was like my second booking like months ago. And it was good revenue with the delivery, but all together, it wasn't good revenue. When you look at the Uber costs it was going to take me to get back home and then to go back over there to pick it up, because they were going to deliver it, they were going to drop it back off at the same location at Palm Springs International. So I was looking round trip for Uber, over $200. Well, guess what? The max I could charge the guest was $120. So it did not make it in my best interest to do that. And so instead of having, mind you, the guest had booked little dickhead. You better walk back this way. Had booked it like next day or something, so, or 2 days. I mean, there's barely any notice to it. They were literally booking it at the last minute. So, hi, how's it going? I go by Wes.
Wes, even though your name's Dale?
Yeah, well, Wes is my middle name.
Okay, just like my middle name used to be Claire.
Oh.
I had to change to my last name. Be nice. She's just in training. I've only had her three weeks.
He's doing good, though. I mean,
Puppy. Well, this special leash that the trainer recommended is a big help because it gives me, theoretically.
it does look like it does give you better control, huh?
Yeah, it's just I use it on both dogs. The other dog's bigger. I need to tighten this so the front one's under her, the front.
You got a little hairball or what?
No, she's getting over a respiratory infection. She's
Oh.
on meds from the shelter.
Oh,
Got
poor
that.
thing. Hey, girl, you gotta stay down.
She's doing better. I hope to see you
Yeah,
tomorrow.
I will. I gotta go to Palm Springs, so for some business. So hopefully I'm back by 6, but I should be.
Oh, that's a horrible long drive, huh?
It is gonna be a long drive. I'm gonna take this guy to the vet, and then I'm heading out to the desert. So
What kind of work do you do?
I do consulting, content creation. I do a lot of different things.
Is that why you carry this around all the
Yeah,
time?
this is my 360 camera. I do a lot of business with this guy. Oh, whoa, he just pulled all the... Well, that was a first. I've never seen any dog do that.
What did you do? Oh, just pull your bags down?
Yeah, she like...
The other day I found her with a kitchen knife in her mouth running around the yard. She
Oh
pulled
my
it
goodness.
off the kitchen counter.
That's a...
Like, nothing to say from a puppy.
Yeah, I guess not. Patrick's
Anyway,
like,
we'll talk later.
all right, you guys have a good walk. Might go back to the Turo. So yeah, it was the whole Palm Springs one was my first introduction. So I received a bad review on that, and I had to do a training thing after that. And I'm like, well, shit, I didn't know I couldn't just cancel a thing. Like there wasn't even a warning or a slap on the wrist. It was like penalty right off the bat. And so I've worked pretty hard to maintain my account for sure. Patrick. Morning. But let's continue on these. So if this all sounds, the ecosystem creates a scenario where hosts, particularly those with higher end or performance vehicles, are operating at a significant disadvantage under the illusion of passive income. Because I mean, my car sits a lot more than I'm using it. And why not? Hey, if I don't go anywhere, I'm not, going anywhere crazy. And it's worked out pretty well where I've had the vehicle when I needed the vehicle. So it's been pretty consistent for me and my work schedule. Because I do a lot of work from home, do a lot of stuff virtual. Of course, if you want to consult, reach out. So if this sounds familiar, welcome to the future of RoboTaxi ownership. Now, the extrapolate this model to Tesla's RoboTaxi. Extrapolate. I don't know, that's a weird word. Imagine you've purchased an FSD-enabled Tesla with the goal of letting it generate income while you sleep. Tesla may offer a platform. They already said they were. Perhaps a native one, or perhaps it partners with third parties. We really don't know yet. Either way, the fundamentals will likely mirror that of what we're seeing now. Platform-controlled pricing algorithms that adjust rates based on demand, seasonality, and platform needs, not your operating costs. Discounting incentives pushed to the guest user side that reduced your take-home without your approval. Right? So this is going to be a completely new experience. And mind you, they expect it to be cheaper than Lyft. So if you've ridden in a Lyft, right, I've done some Lyft rides lately because my car was rented out. And it's like, okay, this Lyft ride's $10. How much cheaper is it going to be with RoboTaxi? Because $10 is pretty cheap for that driver. And then you got to think Lyft and Uber, they're taking their cut out of that. There's taxes involved in it, so you as the driver, what do you get? $5? If I don't give you a tip, it's kind of an aggressive thing. So wear and tear without oversight, especially in unsupervised autonomous trips where you aren't there to inspect the vehicle. This is another thing. Turo's very, very diligent about the photos you take. You got to take a lot of photos, and they tell you like, hey, you didn't take enough photos. We recommend you take at least this many. And so I'm consistent on my photo taking, and I add some more and such. And then limited or no manual booking control. Since the whole value prop is automation. So, there is some control. There's actually some fair amount of control in Turo, but if you're just starting out, what are you gonna rely on? You're gonna rely on the application to define what it is that you should be discounting things. Those are kind of nice. But if they don't, then I don't know, if that data is not valuable or not good, then I don't know what good that does for anybody. Tesla's stated goal is to make RoboTaxi ownership simple, but simplicity comes with automation, and automation comes with loss of control. Market research in real time. What I am experiencing as a Turo host is not just personal anecdote, it's real-time market research for the decentralized fleet model of the future. Some key takeaways. Profit margins vanish quickly when the platform controls both pricing and discounting. Because you got to think Tesla's going to do the same thing. You're going to give it up to their network. Musk has made that pretty clear. Trust is fragile when the guest behavior is unvetted and oversight is minimal. Your car's out and about, going from guest to guest to guest. You don't get to check it each time. Who's looking at it? Somebody spilled the soda. Somebody left a diaper inside. The sweater got left behind. A glass broke in it. I mean, there's a slew of things. And if you've ever been in any Lyfts or Ubers that haven't been really well maintained, because I have, right? And I got picked up in a Model S recently, and that was my $9.89 trip. And the car was like just shit all over the floor. It was like, okay, well, I mean, this is the ride, I guess. Support is inflexible, designed to route you into a corner rather than collaborate. Like I said, I contacted Turo first thing this morning to try and come up with a resolution like, hey, let's get some more money out of this possibly without canceling it. Let's figure out something. Because between your guys' fees and these absurd discounts that you recommended, this isn't going to work. And their thing is, well, you could have overridden your discounts. But I didn't know. But I was going off of what your recommendation was, and I didn't want to remove my mileage limit. I didn't want unlimited mileage for my car. So it's a moot point at this point. Morning. Good. These aren't just Turo problems, they are platform problems, and any RoboTaxi model that follows the same design logic will suffer from the same misalignment between ownership risk and platform control. So what needs to change for Turo and beyond? Well, a transparent pricing control. Hosts may be able to see and approve the final price after all discounts before booking is confirmed, especially on longer term trips. I don't see any issues with like, hey, you gotta, if it's over 45 days, let you set the preference. Why is 30, 45, 60? I don't see any issues with the host getting a notification like, hey, is this gonna work out or not? If it's not, then cool. It's like, well, let's adjust the pricing, right? This should include any guest selected options like non-refundable discounts. This gives us the opportunity to negotiate with the client rather than just cancel it. Like, hey, yeah, this is the max discount we might be able to do. Depends. Let's adjust accordingly and then negotiate from there. Let's give the host an opportunity to go, okay, the guest booked it with a 55% discount. I've reviewed it. I'm not going to be able to do that. I can give you a 35% discount. If that works for you, then cool. Let's book it and let's go, and it's going to be a little bit more. And then the guest can then approve and like, yeah, okay, I'm fine with a little bit more. And it's not like you get tips on Turo either. For having a really clean car, you just get 5-star reviews. Mind you, I've got plenty of 5-star reviews. Almost every guest that I've booked with has written me a 5-star review. I think every guest has, honestly. Mileage flexibility regardless of the discount. This one really pisses me off that by me adjusting the discount, my mileage restriction was removed. It's like, why? So mileage cap should be a host set feature, not a reward for giving into an extreme discount. It's basic fleet management. It really is. Host approval for long-term bookings. Any host, any booking longer than 7 days or above 1,000 miles, I would say, should be subject to host approval, even with the instant book enabled. I would say you should be able to control that. There should be just, hey, at what point do you need review before it's instantly booked? I would say 14 days, 30 days, 45 days. I think those three would be reasonable to have as options. Well, you could do 14, 21, and 30, and then 45, I guess. I mean, that's for them to figure out, not for me. But I'm making clear guidance on this, that it's not fair, and that the Turo support should be willing to go back to the guest and negotiate a new price to try and maintain the booking. That's satisfaction for everybody. Turo still gets their cut. The guest still doesn't have to look for a new. They were sold on my car. They were like, dude, this is a great car. I want to drive this around for the next 2 months. Oh, okay, yeah, $1,500. Yeah, I thought that was a bit too low in my opinion. So, I mean, I told the guest he can rebook it if he wants to after the price updates. We'll see if he does, but it is now like $750 more. And then decentralized metrics transparency. Host needs visibility into their vehicle's usage history, speeding, location pings, abrupt braking, battery use. If the model is to scale to autonomous applications, this is important. I mean, we don't know exactly how the vehicles are going to be driving as we go down this autonomy road with the RoboTaxis. In the Turo sense, these are vehicles that you get to drive. So in this regards, having more data would be valuable, but you have to look at third-party devices to integrate. Verizon has the little hum devices that give you a lot of this information, but they're plugged into the OBD2 sensor, and a lot of times where that sensor is located can be kind of intrusive to the driver. So bless you. So you got to kind of look into stuff like that, and I think Turo kind of deters you from some of these devices. They do recommend a GPS tracker though. Morning.
Hi, good morning.
Advice to new Turo hosts and future RoboTaxi owners. Because I'm going to be a RoboTaxi owner. Maybe. We'll see. I like my Turo though. There's a lot to figure out here. Okay, next, hang on. We that other dog just pulled on this. I was like, whoa, that was different. Okay, there's your little nugget. Slow down, Turbo. Okay, back to the app. So, advice to new Turo hosts and future RoboTaxi owners. Turn off instant book. I mean, I still have mine on, but I went through and adjusted my discounts. Definitely just go through those discounts. I mean, start off with the recommended ones, and don't be afraid to reach out to the guest if you get a booking that you go, this isn't profitable for me, and ask them to cancel. If they're not willing to cancel, then yeah, you're going to have to cancel and you're going to take that penalty. But if they're nice and it's long enough, this guy, he booked like he was like two or 3 weeks in advance, right? That he's booking this 60 plus day use of my car. And I was like, geesh, trust me, I wanted it, but set maximum trip durations. And because this was new to me, so I was just trying out everything. I was going off of what Turo was recommending, and now it's like, no, that don't work. Remove all weekly, monthly discounts unless they make clear financial sense to you. Turo does give breakdowns of this, I can't remember if that was made very clear to me when I was originally setting up the app. So you got to kind of keep that in mind. And like I said, going through it now and adjusting the discounts, it overrides my mileage limitation, which pisses me off. So write your own policies in your listing description. I believe you can do this. So I believe I can still go in there and say that even though it says unlimited mileage, there is a mileage limit. The problem is I may not be able to still get reimbursement because it's not built into the tool. So, if the host isn't willing to work with you on those and they go over and you're like trying to bill them outside of Turo, you don't have much grounds to stand upon. Whereas when it's in Turo, which I've done this for fuel and I've done mileage already in the past, the app does either mileage automatically when you have it enabled for mileage limit, or it'll, or you just take a picture of the receipt and then the guest needs to do it. I do have one right now, an open reimbursement with a guest that brought back the vehicle with less fuel. And I told them, like, yeah, just bring it back with less fuel. I can fill it up, because she was going to get a late fee. I'm like, she didn't think she was going to get back in time. And I'm like, well, you don't even have to worry about filling it up. I can submit for reimbursement to you, later. Yeah, I told her through Turo. And document everything, your trier test. I mean, that's all stuff you want to take photos of. And for those eyeing RoboTaxi income, get your expectations in check. Passive income in the vehicle space is an illusion unless the system is truly balanced between owner and operator. Tesla's RoboTaxi network is coming. It really is. But if it borrows too heavily from the Turo playbook, because this is completely new to Tesla, right? There's not a lot of other apps out there. Turo's one of those apps where you can rent your vehicles. I think there's like 2 others, but there's really not that much options out there. It may deliver more headache than profit, especially for individual owners. And unit platforms, or until platforms like Turo and eventually Tesla start updating owners as partners, or treating owners, as partners instead of vendors, the dream of autonomous passive income will remain just that, a dream. We have the chance to help shape the future now, but it starts with telling the truth. So, and that was mine. That was based on my experience with Turo. So, and just on this long-term booking, and I hope I get another booking lined up. Patrick, this is the wrong way. He's like, yeah, I know. I'm wibbling-wobbling. He's wibbling-wobbling. It's getting hot quick, so we better start walking back the other way. Just on his little mission. But yeah, that was quite the experience to have to deal with, and it was pretty frustrating because I don't see any reason why Turo wouldn't want to try and retain the booking and work with the guest on a resolution, or to eat up some of their cost. I can't see that the insurance policy, their percentage that they cut, they really should split it accordingly, to just being, let's walk this way, to like, hey, the insurance is this much, right, of being a fixed fee, but then I understand the percentage base works itself out on the lower income ones because the fixed fees, yeah. It gets complicated. But they take, depending on what insurance package you take, they can take up to fucking 40%, I think. Maybe more. I think there's a little bit higher one. On the plan I have selected, I take 75%. So they take 25%, but it covers pretty much everything that I would want. I think it even covers vehicle loss if the vehicle's in the shop. So if the vehicle was in the shop, and I was, whatever my expected revenue would have been during that period, who knows how good that is, but at least I would still get revenue. Oh, Nugs, you're walking too slow. But yeah, there's a lot to be said and to be figured out. Ooh, sun came out quick, Nugs. But yeah, it's just one of those things. I just hope the auto tracking and the camera is pretty good for this walk. Because really that's what the tracking's for, is more refined content. And I did change it to do 16 by 9. But the downside is on the 16 by 9 footage, it's 1080p. It's like, what the fuck? That's pretty bad. I'm not really interested in a 16 by 9 1080p video to upload. So that means I'm still going to use the full 360. I don't even know why I can't do the active tracking on the other formats and just only film the 360. And then it just auto tracks in it. Like, that just makes more sense. If I can just get it to auto track and the 360, that's all I need. And then my footage is in 360. And then if you don't want to look at me, you can turn around and look at Patrick, or you can look around at other things. You know, I've been trying a couple different formats out just to have fun with this footage, because this footage, you can do more with it. You can make scenes look different, and it's so much fun. It really is. And it makes the conversation a bit more enjoyable, in my opinion. So, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of houses in this neighborhood with solar. I might just canvass my local neighborhood right here. I was thinking, like, oh, I'll go over to Morgan Hills, and but these homes are, one, a lot easier for me to get up on. They may be 2-story, but they have 1-story access, which is really nice. Not all of them, but most of them do. And yeah, when I was canvassing out there, I saw mostly. So these are the systems I typically see: Enphase and SolarEdge, Enphase and SolarEdge, Enphase and SolarEdge. Had 2 houses side by side that both had Fronius Primo inverters. So I was like, whoa, who installed these? Don't see those often. I'm like, and to have 2 of them, right? You got one house and then the one next door. It's like, wow, that's crazy. Didn't see any SMAs. There wasn't any SMAs. It was mostly Enphase and SolarEdge. And most of SolarEdge looked to be HD waves, but I did see some of the older units for sure. And then there was obviously the fair share of SunPower sites, which, you know, I'm not 100% sure on any of those. Gotta wait. There's a car. Yeah, see the car? Yeah. Okay, now you go for a walk. He doesn't like waiting for the cars. He's like, they should slow down for me. But you think about that, yeah, in an autonomous future, I mean, you could just walk out in front of the robo vehicles and they're gonna stop. And it's like, pedestrians are supposed to always have the right of way. So, what's that right of way? Good pee. Okay, we walk back this way. Go have num-nums. Let me look at that face. He's like, num-nums? Don't tease me with num-nums. Okay. But we're getting there. We're getting there. Just keep going, hopefully we get some more bookings in. I know I got a couple other bookings, and then and tomorrow I'm gonna be out in Palm Desert, Palm Springs area. I got that furniture showroom. I don't think I'm gonna take photos that day, but maybe, we'll see. It would be nice to knock it out in one trip, but then again, they have 2 locations, and I know I'm not gonna be able to do both locations in one day. So it just depends, because they're big. So, and I need to know the square footage of the stores, so I'm gonna need to look them up, because there is some additional costs for that. Morning. So, we'll see. But I don't want to try and get the ticket value a little bit up, and you try and get as many interactions, because it's like, you got to think, if they have, like the Rancho Mirage store I walked into, it looked huge. If it's 3,000 square feet, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to go, look, the photos aren't time consuming. I can work with a lot of photos. What's time consuming is the interactions. Building out the interactions is time consuming. That's where the time spent, because I need to spend it with the client in some cases. So, but it can be done remotely, right? Dr. Cantor for Peak Vision Dental. Stop, Patrick, don't knock it over. Oh, freaking turd nugget. He's like, what? What do you want? I knocked nothing over. Yeah, sure. Sure. See, I can go like this. I don't know if it still tracks like this. Maybe. This is like way out there. These are the best fucking cameras. They really are. I fucking love these things. I love the little air mic. And I figured out how to make it magnetic on the lanyard. So it's on the lanyard, and then I use the normal magnet on the backside. So if the magnets basically stop being magnetic, then at least, well, I don't know. I don't know the point of the lanyard, honestly, because you can't control where it's sitting, and the damn thing's like too long. So it doesn't have like I guess if I move this to the back, right, if it was back there, I'm trying to think if it was like glasses, if it would be better, because then you can pull it up to where you want it over someone. I'm gonna have to keep messing with it. Trying to, you know how glasses, they used to have the little pull tab, you hardly ever see those anymore. Hardly ever see those things anymore. So that way you cap them on your head. But, yeah, I'm excited for the furniture store. That's going to be a really good one. And it's that entry one. So now that's going to be a good one for me to show off to other stores. She slowed down when he's like, he scared her. You know, and Dr. Cantor's office is a good one to show. So I definitely want to get his refined and published, because I want to do the little blog post on it and go on. I want to get some realtors signed up, but then, man, those guys are so difficult on stuff. You know, there's so many realtors, and everybody's trying to sell them services. I'm trying to sell them a service that I think is affordable. At $150, I basically would drive up to 100 miles. And that's kind of what I've adjusted it to. I was like, okay, for the $150 a month, I'll drive 100 miles. I can go up to 100 miles for your virtual tour, and you get one a month, right? And it rolls over. So if you didn't have one month, and then the next month you had 2 virtual tours, right? Well, now you paid for 2, right? It's not like they just disappear. They only disappear if you don't keep renewing it. So you keep banking these virtual tours on the back end. I got to figure out, I got to make sure I can track that adequately. But it should be relatively easy, because you get 12. And if it's like, okay, I see you've made 3 payments and there's only been 1 booking. Okay, well, you still have 2 virtual tours, right? So to me, it should be relatively easy just to look at the account and go, okay, how many months have you paid for? And then, yeah, go from there. And then I'm trying to figure out the additional tours that you get, like what the discount is. Are you still paying $150 per additional tour, or can I bring it down a little bit more? I don't think I can bring it down much more. It's really tough. I think I had one realtor ask if I could do it for like $99, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe. It's time. you know. It's time at the end of the day, and it's fuel driving out to it. So, you know, at $99, yeah, maybe, but it's maybe a shorter range. It's only 50 miles. If you want to go that full 100 miles, then it's probably still going to be at the 150. But, you know, I'm open to figuring something out, because, you know, this is kind of a new platform configuration that I've been putting together for services, right? From service membership oriented work. That way it's more consistent for me and more consistent for you, you know, and I want it streamlined like tech, right? Like, you know, you can go to the MLS and put in your listing and it syncs it to all your platforms. Well, what if you could just book your virtual tour every time? Do you really think you need to hire like a really advanced photographer for a lot of the homes? No. You know, all those little video movements and everything, like, yeah, they're cool. But at the end of the day, most people just look at a virtual tour. And if you do the non-branded one, that's what I think a lot of them should be marketing more so than anything. It's the non-branded virtual tours. So, you just see. One day at a time. I'm working on the solar stuff, right? Just canvassing the areas. I got my little map tool to canvas, you know, as I track the homes I'm canvassing, so I know like what areas I went to, and then kind of tracking how many homes I hit. So I do need to go back to yesterday's and kind of input, but I believe I did about 55 homes in that community. It was so cute to see. There was some lemonade. There was a little lemonade stand, like these kids were serving lemonade. I mean, there was kids all out and about doing all sorts of stuff. I'm like riding little motorcycles around, little 50cc, 75cc, little dirt bikes. Just up and down the street, and then you see the lemonade stand and they're like, do you want lemonade? I'm like, sure, that's $1. I'm like, okay, which one has less? They had two different lemonades, and it wasn't even two different lemonades. They had fruit punch and lemonade, and it's like, okay, well, which one has less sugar? It's like, well, that one's fruit punch. I'm like, okay, and they're like, that one's lemonade, and I'm like, okay, well, how much sugar did you put in it? And they were just like blank in the face about it. And I'm like, okay, well, just go with the lemonade because the fruit punch probably has more sugar. I'm like, ugh. It didn't have that much sugar, but it could have used some more fucking water. That's for sure. My goodness. It's like, I just like a hint of lemonade. Hint of lemon. Good pee-pees. But yeah, I'm hoping to get some service calls for my memberships. You know, I'm doing a lot of different things. I'm still doing stuff in the solar industry because, you know, this industry is it's so funny to knock. I'm not even knocking on the doors, but it's so funny to talk to people that have solar, because there was some people that were like coming out of their homes, or they were sitting out front or something. I'm like, oh, hey, my name's Dale. I live in the area, and I just want to let you know I service solar systems, so I'm just dropping off business cards. They're like, oh, okay, thanks. And then they watch me walk past like 4 houses that don't have solar. It's like, yeah, I'm not here to try and sell anybody solar. I'm here to make sure your shit keeps working, because the companies you buy from don't give a fuck if it works. Then finding actual people that know how to fix the solution without fucking charging you up the ass, well, that's even harder. Yeah, it's even harder. So, I think more of the organizations, as the solar industry continues to evolve and we see the tax credit removed and incentives change, net metering change, fewer contractors in the space, we're likely to see the manufacturers adjust their structure for certifications. So that way consultants can, you know, so they have more freedom to it than it just being solely licensed contractors or something. Because a lot of the times they're not the ones doing the certification. And Tesla knows that, you know, they all know that. But Patrick, you just peed all over your leg, dude. He's so freaking, you gotta clean him up. But this will be a good test on how well it did on keeping the angle, because I when I try and do the tracking in the 360 on the 16:9, it kind of is a little screwy on the frame, in my opinion. So, like I said, I would prefer it not even bother doing the 16 or 9:6 filming at the same time. And I just want it to track at the same time as me filming. That's really all I want. And then let me edit it in the 360 footage in the app. The app needs some work, that's for sure. But, one thing at a time. I'm like waiting for like some other company to come around to make this product better. I have my dev kit for the Insta360, but the software development, it's going to take me a little bit more time and resources. So I need clients first. I need y'all to, we all need to work together, and then from there, we can work on some stuff. Fun seeing the neighbors yesterday. I hardly ever see them all outside. I usually see the dad and the kids, but I was like, mom, dad, kids, little dogs out front. And I'm like, oh, well, you guys are all having fun out front. It's like their black lab like went running up to me when it saw me. I'm like, oh, what's up? They're like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, no worries. I'm not worried about your little dog. Little puppers. Oh, nugs. He's like, yeah, num-nums times. Num-nums times. I gotta take the car over to see if the auto shop can put it in service mode for the brakes if his works for it. If not, I already found a OBD2 that I can buy from Amazon, and maybe they want to buy it. Maybe I talk to them and be like, look, I'll buy it, and and then you guys can have it. I don't care. What the fuck is this? Looks like a bird flew into the window and died. Fantastic. That's like the second one. Oh, he's already left. Okay. Level. The auto lock is, I know, we're waiting for it to auto lock. It's a little slow on the auto unlock. Okay, well, you guys have a good rest.